So let's talk about him. Bald-headed prick from Parliament. Press start.
Real life Lex Luthor.
Well,
that's real life dumb Lex Luthor.
Yeah. That's one way to put it. Peter Dutton writes press start. Peter Dutton suggested that Grand Theft Auto could be partly to blame for men's toxic behavior. Shannon writes, "Oh no. It is no secret that Canberra has been rightfully under fire over the last month or so after several cases of harassment against women were brought to light. There's been a number of missteps and fumblings by the government officials since, and of course, video games had to take part in the blame. As spotted by Kotaku, Peter Dutton, the Minister for Home Affairs, took to the Today Show this morning and suggested that the toxic behaviour displayed by men was linked to young boys playing Grand Theft Auto and watching TikTok. He also says that this needs to be spoken about more often as part of an ongoing conversation about the treatment of women that's happening around the country at the moment." The quote is, here he says, "If you're playing Grand Theft Auto as a 13-year-old boy, in that game, not just, drive cars recklessly, you can go for a lap dance. You can go and shoot police. So we need to have a broader conversation about the influence on those young boys, both in a family setting and a societal setting, and particularly online." So, of course, when this...
Wait, so let me get this straight. So there's this minister that was accused of raping somebody.
Yeah.
33 years ago. So at some point, he traveled forward in time, played Grand Theft Auto for several hours, went back to his original timeline, and then committed an assault. Yeah. Is that what Peter Dutton is saying?
That's the number one thing that confuses me most about this is literally that. I mean, there's many things wrong with this, but if you want to stick it within the confines of why the conversation happened in the first place, which is discussion around what's happening in Parliament within Australian government at the moment and accusations there within his own party, of course, the fact that he brings up TikTok and video games as the defense arguments as to why...
Two things he's likely never used.
Two things he likely has never used, and likely all these pricks who are doing these horrible things have, well, maybe they've used TikTok, who fucking knows, but highly doubt you could put the blame on fucking Grand Theft Auto. What do they play? It's such a weird defense for that. But then it's also, and I mean, look, we've seen this argument brought up so many times throughout history. The whole video games make people be violent. Video games cause people to be turn into sexist pigs. Video games turn men against women, men, whatever, to turn you violent. We see how these conversations happening all the time. There's, we're constantly seeing conversations, especially in America. They bring it up a lot whenever there's gun violence. Of course, the people in America, the officials over there. I think Ted Cruz.
I don't know if they do. I think they've realized it's too much of a cliche.
No, Ted Cruz has done it a lot.
Doesn't work.
Ted Cruz has at least tried it a lot that I've seen, where he's at least tried to put the blame on video games. The NRA, in particular, like to put the blame on video games and say, "Hey, it's not that guns aren't the problem. It's the video games that are making people do it." So the NRA does love to do that over there, but of course they would, because they want to.
They want to
protect guns,
keep guns.
Yeah. So it's not a
gun lives matter, Dylan. Gun lives matter.
Yeah. It's not like a new conversation, but I just think within the confines of such a serious, and you can't really understate how big of a deal what's happening in Australian government at the moment is. And I think to downplay how fucked up and maybe once in a lifetime what's happening in Australian government at the moment is, you'd kind of be doing a disservice, because it potentially is once in a lifetime, hopefully once in a lifetime, I can't imagine these sorts of stories happening, and it's a complete shake-up. And the fact that he thinks, I mean, I'm not surprised. Look who runs our country. Scott Morrison's over there just downplaying shit left, right and center. But the fact that he thinks that within such a serious topic and conversation that he can sort of shift the blame onto video games and TikTok to a degree and whatever else, I just think it's so and I guess the other thing, when I saw this, I was like, please, all the gamers, please don't turn this into the video games are the most important thing here. Cause that's not what because it's You know what I mean? Though, like, let's not swerve the conversation because then he kind of wins at that point.
It's like, protect video games. No, that's not the main thing.
Yeah.
It's calling out a douche for trying to deflect from the main
that's
problem at hand.
Yes, that's exactly my point, which I guess is the thing, because I did see a degree of that. Everyone, to a degree, you see in the comments, people responding. Sometimes if I clicked in their profiles, I could tell they were like kids or whatever, like fucking 14, 15-year-olds or whatever. So maybe they don't get it. They're automatically on the Defend Call of Duty Grand Theft Auto bandwagon. But I'm like, if everyone starts doing that and that becomes the narrative of the stories, which they're not, as I just read through the press start one, the way this is worded, the way the Kotaku's story is worded, every game outlet I've seen write about this, I haven't really seen anyone else write about it, but all the game outlets I've seen write about it have wrote about it correctly, which is to focus it on being like he's trying to swerve away from an important topic. But it's not really great, is it? As Shannon finishes up in his article here, it says video games have been linked to violence and inappropriate behaviour many times before, particularly by Australian government officials and on breakfast talk shows. Right now, more than ever, especially in the context of the respectful treatment of women, it does feel like a bit of a stretch and totally out of place. Needless to say, women have been experiencing toxic behaviour long before the advent of video games, or TikTok for that matter, which I did see someone else on Twitter point out as well. I was like, what? Like, I want to go back before video games and like what was I actually don't know because I guess we didn't have as much media.
It's film and TV.
Yeah, I guess it was. But
all these films are so violent. Killing everybody.
It would have been because they were banned in like all the horror
all
movies. All
these books are so violent.
I guess book burnings and stuff, So it's always...
all these stories told by people in the street. So violent.
It's always... Possibly.
all these drawings on the wall. So violent.
Probably. Which, I mean, the moral of that story, because all of that's, as much as all of that's funny, probably true as well. Some of it we know is true. They did blame it on film, music as well, of course. More of the story is men, throughout history, just always trying to swerve,
terrible.
Swerve any old blame.
It's not our fault,
Yeah. So,
I mean, someone from PR should have told them this wasn't going to work. It's like,
I don't know.
So I'm thinking about blaming it on video games. Do you think this TikTok?
Yeah, TikTok thing.
TikTok.
I heard Donald Trump talk about it. I heard that's he hates it.
We'll stop the boats. And no one shot him down. So surrounded by yes people.
He's just
probably yes man.
I just like you watch that 55-second clip and it's just watching someone who just eats his own ass for breakfast just talk. Like, it's just utter nonsense. And yeah, I don't know. There's not much else to say about it, of course. Just don't let this bullshit, especially if they continue it, don't suddenly be like, oh, I got to protect the video games sort of thing. It's like, look, grandma and grandpa at home reading the paper, maybe they're like, oh, yes, he's probably right. But everyone else is going, no. Just a bit of a cunt, aren't you, Dutton? Shut the fuck up,
No.
Stop switching the blame.
Nice try.